Well, good evening, guys. Spring is here, so it's back to working all night, trying to keep up to the amount of work that keeps coming through the door, and thank God for that. I really appreciate that. Today we got ourselves a 2012 Street Glide. Came in with a leaky rear tire. We look at it and the tread's basically worn off smooth, so we're going to put a new tire on it, 180 65/16, and we're going to do a full service on this old girl. We're going to do the engine oil, motor oil, primary oil on the left side, clean the air filter, check the fuel pressure, some new spark plugs, check our clutch adjustment. Cable's on the wrong side for some reason. It's probably a super long cable someone put in. Check our brakes, lights, kind of go through the bike. So, service works pretty easy. I really enjoy doing it because it's in and out, and you get to listen to some music and it's fun. Anyways, thanks guys. First thing we want to do is get these saddle bags out of the way. These will just have the screw-on types here on the inside. We'll get both bags out of the way, set them on a stand, less chance of scratching anything up, and then we'll get the oils and stuff draining out. The oil's pretty easy to drain. I'm not going to get a camera under there to show you guys, but your transmission drain plug is basically right here. If you follow your exhaust mount under, you'll feel a 5/8 plug. And on the left side, you'll see underneath your primary, there's a plug going in to drain your primary. And on the very bottom of the oil pan, which is bolted to your transmission, on the left side, you'll see a plug to drain the engine oil. So we'll get all three of those running out, because if you listen real quietly, you can hear that thing ticking. It's hot. So it's a really good idea to change your oil when it's hot, or at least run for a few minutes. That way any dirt inside the engine or sludge can come loose and be suspended in your oil, and then when you drain it, you'll have a better flush, so to say. No steel on the transmission drain plug is always a great thing to see. I see the dreaded open air filter. It hasn't been cleaned in a long time. There's lots of dirt in it. There's probably going to be dirt on the inside. I suggest anytime you run an open air filter, run a sock. It will not affect your performance, and it'll keep your air filter cleaner longer. It'll save your air filter from getting destroyed and sandblasted, and it will save your engine from sucking dirt and dust. Now that I got all my oils draining, I like to go around, check all my fender bolts with the flashlight. I like to go in here and look at my brake pads, see how thick they are. I like to have a real good look at my tires. This one's getting a little old. It's not cracked yet, but I'm going to make a suggestion to replace it. So you can read the date on the tire. You look for the symbol on the side of your tire that says DOT, and then you go down to where you see the oval. You'll see 4 numbers, and the first 2 numbers will be the week, and the second 2 numbers will be the year of your tire on your machine. Also go over here, check your engine mounts. Look inside here, see if you see any wetness around your intake manifold seals, rocker boxes. Check the rear brakes. We're going to check our clutch adjustment. It's a good idea to pull the seat off. Have a quick look at your battery connections under here. Lots of times I've seen the bikes come in here and intermittent problems, and it's just a simple matter of cables being loose. On the left side of the bike, you can see I'm zoomed in here pretty good. Every time we do a service on a bike, we always check this. You see how loose that shifter is, that linkage? It's this arm right here on the transmission. Every time I get a Harley in here, 95%, 90% of the time, that arm is loose. So we take a 7/16 wrench and we just take that hind joint out of there, and then we reach down there with a 1/4 inch Allen and tighten that up. And if we can tighten that up to the point where there's no movement on that arm, you're good to go. Because to replace that arm, you have to pull your whole outer, inner, clutch, compensator, everything off of there to fix that. And you can't do that on the side of the road real quickly when it's +40 out and you're stuck on the side of the freeway. So keep an eye on that. You don't want to round that Allen bolt off. So when you get your Allen socket in there and an extension, take a little hammer and tap it. That way you know your Allen is seated all the way in the bolt and you're not going to round that head off. You can see how much tighter that is. I'll zoom in for you. You see how much tighter that linkage is? No more side to side play on it. That's perfect. When you're on this side, you want to change or check the belt tension. You can see how much that's moving. That's way too loose. That should not be moving 1.5 inches. So we got to do this tire anyways, and we'll set the belt tension then. Right now we're just gonna set our clutch up, check our fuel pressure right now because there's no oil in it. We're gonna let it drain overnight. I'm gonna throw a couple new NGK DCP 7RE spark plugs in here and throw a new filter on it. You put your new spark plugs in, make sure you put a little nickel anti-seize on your threads. I used to use copper coat on my threads, but fine young fella explained to me why nickel is actually better, so we switched that about a year ago. Well, good morning fellas and fellas. We're going to finish up the service before we do the tire, so we're going to throw our primary oil back in, which is 1 liter of AMSOIL ATF in the primary. Back to the right side. In the transmission, we use 1 liter of 75 140 AMSOIL Severe Gear. The best oil I've ever run in a Harley transmission. Touring models, 6-speed, are 1 liter. And then in the engine, if you've got a stock oil pan, we use 4 liters of AMSOIL 2050 V twin oil. Well, David Allen Coe, anybody know if he's still alive? Sure wonder what he's up to. I get a lot of people ask me, how often should I do my engine oil? Personally, I believe on the Harley Davidson engine, because it's air cooled and more inconsistent temperatures, I feel that the engine oil should be done at least every 3,000 kilometers. Oil is cheaper than an engine, and it's designed to get dirty. Once it's dirty, you know it's picked up dirt and any sort of deposits, so it's time to get that out. Now we're going to pull this rear wheel off and change the tire. First thing you want to do is get a 5/16 Allen. Pull your caliper out of the way. There's a little plastic clip which sometimes give you a little extra length just so you can lay it on your saddlebag support bar. Then there's a clip here on your axle that you want to take. It's a double safety so your nut can't rattle off, and then you want to take that nut off. Once you get your wheel off, you want to take your rear pulley and inspect it for wear. Make sure there isn't a whole bunch of hard surfacing peeling off. You also want to check this plate on the back. These pulleys are made out of 2 pieces and they're pressed together, and a lot of times this back plate will come loose, so you want to keep an eye on that. And then you want to check your bearings too while you do a tire. Really easy now to change your bearings. A lot easier than on the side of the road. You can see we've got our new tire installed, Avon Cobra Chrome tire. It's such a good tire. It has a dual compound, harder in the center, so you get good miles out of it, and when you're cornering, man, does it stick good. This is also such a good tire that as soon as I got it on the rim, I didn't need any weights to balance this tire. Once you've got your wheel back in there, and you've got your belt tension set, and your nut tightened up, put your caliper back on. And please make sure that you put your disc in between your pads. I've seen quite a few bikes come in here from who knows where, and who knows who's worked on them, and people have complained about the brakes squeaking. Well, a few times I've actually seen both pads on one side of the disc. Not good, guys. So another common thing you want to check is this bike has a crossover pipe. You want to go under here and check the bracket that supports it. A lot of times the bracket I've seen is broken and it's squeaking and rattling around. So check that bracket anytime you got a bike on the lift. Once you get your air filter cleaned and it dries on its own, don't blow air through it. Put your air filter back on. Make sure you wipe off any excess of oil so it doesn't drip down on your exhaust and blow all over your white jeans. Full service, you want to make sure you check the last tire as well. Personally, I like to run my tires a little on the harder side, 38 or 40. Check your tires either every time you ride or at least once a week, because they do bleed down a little bit on the beads. If they sit for a while, if she's just a show queen in the garage, yeah, she's gonna leak down. So keep an eye on your tires. A harder tire is gonna run better than a soft tire. Last thing we're gonna do is check the fuel pressure. Take the fuel line, slide the collar up, pull your line out. I like to put a little bit of WD-40 on my nipple before I slide it back in. Slide up your collar, lock it into place, put your other fuel line in. It's just a piggyback setup, that's all it is. Has a nice soft magnet on your tank so it doesn't scratch. Not well you guys can see that gauge, but ideally, good fuel pressure. You want to turn the key on, let the pump pressure up, kick off, and it should be at 55. Turn the key off, you should wait about 15 minutes, and you still want to have it within 2 or 3 pounds of 55 PSI. If it bleeds down past 50, 45, or even down to 0 within that 15 minutes, you know you've got a regulator problem, or there's maybe a small pinhole in one of the hoses. So yeah, our fuel pump kicks right up to 60 and then goes down to 50. I'm gonna turn our key off, we're gonna wait 50 minutes. Sorry, we're gonna turn the key off and wait 15 minutes. Right now our fuel pressure is between 50 and 55. All right, you can see we've waited about 10 minutes and our fuel pressure has not moved at all, so we'll call that good. Next part of checking the fuel pressure, if you suspect you have a problem, is leave that gauge hooked up and go for a ride down the road and mount your gauge somewhere that you don't have to look off the road, right? Be safe. And you want to check that fuel pressure under load. Hot, cold, maybe a full tank of fuel. Once the fuel gets low, you want to check what your fuel pressure is as well in the tank. Why? Because fuel will actually cool your pump. So if your fuel tank's low and you're losing fuel pressure, you know that you've got some bearings or a pump that's probably starting to malfunction. But this is a good pump. You got to take this bike for a ride once the snow's a little gone, a little more, and then she's ready to go. So I guess thanks for watching while we did a service on this bike. And until next time, put something in the comments. If you guys want to see me do something cool, build something, you know. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.